17.
The best Pirates talk is right here. Trib Total Media. See what's next. The Clint Hurdle Show on TribLIVE Radio is brought to you by White Deer Run, Cove Prep of State College. Brought to you by Century 3 Chevrolet. We can make it happen.
Our semi-monthly visit with Clint Hurdle, Pirates manager here on TribLIVE Radio. Clint, good morning. And remember, you had joined us about a month ago here on the show, and we were talking about the comparisons of your team in Colorado, the one that pennant, had the identical record at the time, 18-26, and by mid-June had gotten back to 500. Your team did the same. What was it like? First of all, what did it take to get out of that hole, and what did it feel like as a group? I know you guys have dipped a couple games back under, but to get back to even again.
Well, we've got to just keep playing ball, and there's different areas in which we continue to strive to improve. It starts off the mound. It always has and always will. Our starting pitching has stabilized itself. Even with the departure of Liriano and Cole out of the rotation. I mean, we have 2/5 of the starting rotation that we broke the season open with. The guys that have come in Compton and Locke and now Worley, have given us good efforts. Charlie's taken a step forward as well, and Volk is finding better rhythm and pace and location off the mound. So it starts there. Our offense got better through the month of May, and in June has taken another step forward. The addition of Polanco to this offense gives us a different dynamic. Marte has obviously been able to up his game upon just started before Polanco's arrival, but I think that's also given them some competitive spirit just internally. And the young man in center field continues to have just a torrid June. Russell Martin swinging the bat so well. We're adding offense in a couple other places as well. The pinch hitters have done a fantastic job. So, we're playing more complete games, and we still know that we've got room to improve and a better way to finish things off, as evidenced by the last 2 one-run losses.
Clint, Polanco obviously has been a big topic on shows like ours all year because fans saw what he was doing down at Indianapolis. But it's still pretty rare for a guy, no matter how talented, to come up. I know it's only been a week, but I mean, he hasn't missed a beat. He doesn't seem fazed by anything. I mean, I remember even when Barry Bonds first came up to the Pirates, he didn't set the world on fire right away. Are you at all surprised that he's been this successful this quickly?
No, I try and just keep my emotions where they need to be. I'm not an expert like a lot of people. I just watch people play and try and write on a chalkboard and give them the opportunity to show what they can do and how they're going to do it. Similar conversations I'm sure they're had in Washington a few years ago when Bryce Harper broke in, and conversations there are different now. We need to give this young man an opportunity to play. Unfortunately, most of us won't. We're going to get ahead of ourselves in a lot of areas. We're going to set that bar high for him and keep bumping it up. I just encourage everyone to sit back and watch and enjoy a young man getting to hone his craft in front of you with every opportunity to be a significant player for us for an extended period of time along the lights of Andrew McCutchen.
Clint, back to Compton and Locke and Vance. You'll have, hopefully, I guess for your sake here, a tough decision to make coming up. When you only have a couple of starts of some guys to go by, what are the things you look for to maybe separate who should stay and who might need to be reassigned somewhere on the team or the organization?
Well, you look at everybody's body of work. You look at everybody's skill set. Whose fastball command has played the best? Who has secondary pitches that are working to get outs as well? What's the walk strikeout ratio? What's the whip? What's the batting average against? All those things come into play. And then, you will do the mechanical aspect of it. Are there options available for anybody where you don't lose a player if that is the move you choose to make? Earlier in the season, we moved the player without options because we opted to keep a player, actually a pitcher that was pitching better than that player from a competitive standpoint in the Hughes-Mazzaro switch. It's not always the way, people say, well, he's got an option, you move him. I don't think that's fair. I've got a little bit of a spat in the back seat here. Hold on 1 second.
That's no problem. Happens on our show all the time.
It's daddy day out with the kids, so They want to make sure that we're talking about the rotation, I think, in the back. So it's not just the easy move. You need to make the right move from a competitive standpoint as well. So all those things go and factor into that decision-making.
Clint, the bullpen's been beaten up a little bit the past 4 games, and I was looking at some numbers. The amount of innings pitched for bullpens across baseball almost seemed to coincide with blown saves. I might be making something on that. Is fatigue a factor? Is it too early in the year for that? I know you had to use the bullpen more than you probably wanted to the first couple of months, but is that part of it, do you think?
I don't. Okay. I don't. And I think you can grab a sample size. We live in a day and age where you can cherry pick stats all day long and make them work for your side of the argument. There's so many available. There's a common thread in the one you've picked up right now, but in our guys right now and the way these things have gone, Stolmy wasn't fatigued. Justin Wilson wasn't fatigued. Grilly's not fatigued. Tony Watson wasn't fatigued for me. We've had most of these guys before, so I know they get used, and I know there's challenges right now for us. I would be hard-pressed for you to go back and find this same type of challenge the previous 3 years in any way. What they've done, they've pitched so well that these are definitely going to be magnified and stick out. But again, there's so many different things that happen during the course of the game that nobody talks about that can create more separation for your team, so these things don't become as much of a focal point. Whether it be base running, whether it be opportunities to drive in runs. It's a team game, and it always will be. You win as a team, and you lose as a team.
Well, back to Clint, what you were saying about Polanco with the bar being set high. Jason Grilly, same thing. As you mentioned, he's been so good for you. What are you seeing with him mechanically? I mean, it looks like his velocity is still there. Is this just a minor blip?
You saw elevated fastball in the middle of the plate last night. I mean, 2 breaking balls that weren't strikes. You get in a hard count with a fastball hitter that dives out over, and he squared it up and rode it out of the ballpark. That's what I saw with Jason Grilly last night. As I've said earlier, this year more than any other, when we've missed with fastball location, we're not giving up doubles. We're not giving up singles. In the past, we got outs, too. We got pop-ups. We got rollovers. The ball's ending up on the other side of the fence more so than any other time I'd be here. That's the nature of the game. Sometimes you just got to keep playing and battling through things. You have the personnel you have. You believe in the people that have done it in the past. So it's not velocity by any means. If you get strike one on a breaking ball, it changes that at bat. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, so you play forward. He's not going to throw 3 of them and get behind that, beat the leadoff hitter. You give the guy some credit, and Jason will be the first one to tell you that he missed location with it, and at this level, you can get a bad result when you miss location.
Clint, when we were talking with you in your office yesterday before the game, you were mentioning when against a pitcher like Cueto, when you have opportunities, guys on second or third base, less than 2 out, you have to make those count. And I know all the way back in spring training, you talked about one goal you had this year was to have more productive outs, more productive at bats. The amount of hits, the team batting average, and the offense, as we've been talking about, has improved so much since May 1st. Do you feel right now you're getting the runs that you should be getting, considering the amount of hits and guys you get on base a game?
No, we're not. We have been able to ramp up just about every part of our game except for the productive out part as far as plating runners when they're out there. Our batting average of runners in scoring position. There's the men on base that we've had. Certain hitters have had the opportunity to drive in. One of the things you look at, eliminate home runs and the RBIs that come from the home runs. Look at the number of men on base each hitter hits with. And you can figure out there's actually indexes to follow whether the guy's having an above, below, or average year from a run production standpoint. We've got some guys above. We've got some guys below. Overall, as a team, the left on base number right now, I do believe we're leading the National League in that category. That can be a bad thing. It can be a good thing. Right now, there have been opportunities that we have not been able to cash in on that have cost us, games, runs, that type of thing. The men are well aware of it. We're trying to find a better rhyme, a better mindset to take advantage of those situations. Some guys are doing it well. Collectively, as a team, it's an area we need to improve.